Steven Espinoza airs out Terence Crawford for trying to weight drain Errol Spence again. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, a recent interview has come out where Steven Espinoza clears the air about the Errol Spence Terence Crawford rematch. What's the hold up? What's going on with the weight? And I just want to break that down for anybody listening.
Not completely. I mean, there are some other parameters I don't want to get into, but if there's a legitimate difference, one guy is legitimately going to 154, one guy is legitimately staying at 47, then that's a reason a fight can't be made. But weight can't be used as an excuse and sort of say, I don't feel like it. Like, I'll go up for this guy, but not another guy.
All right, y'all. So Steven Espinoza has basically aired out Terence Crawford for attempted weight drain. Yes, Terence Crawford is trying to bust Errol Spence down to 147 again so he can walk away with 2 dubs and hand Errol Spence 2 L's.
If I don't go personally, I send my cars to the cookout.
And, I think it's crazy. And I think it could possibly ruin the second fight, the rematch. Now, I know everyone's saying that, well, it's not going to happen. Showtime's gone out of business. Very true. Showtime will be shutting the doors at the end of this year. But if you go watch my last video, I spoke about what's actually going on and what's actually going to take place. Showtime didn't actually hold the contract for any fights. They held the contract to televise fights on behalf of PBC. PBC actually holds the contracts for all of these fights. Now, Showtime ups the upfront money because they take the television rights. So they're putting the money up to pay the fighters and pay for the venues and stuff like that. But then they get their money recouped off of the television rights after the pay-per-views and everything are tallied up and the replays are on Showtime. So that's how they actually make their money.
He good. You must be crazy.
So what's going to actually happen is the rematch is going to basically be sold to whatever TV network or whoever PBC decides to get to televise their fights in the future. They will pick up all the new fights, the Gervonta Davis fights, the Canelo Alvarez fights, the Errol Spence Terence Crawford rematch. So Steven Espinoza still has insight to the contract and the negotiation process. He's just not the one who's actually holding the contracts. It's actually PBC.
The language is very, more precise and very definitive. But the concept is, out of fairness, is, let's not be selective. There are some conditions in which, it wouldn't happen. I mean, weight is one thing. If they can't agree on weight, that's it. But money is set. All the other parameters are set.
So what did Steven Espinoza say? He said basically that Terence Crawford wants the fight to happen at 147, basically. Errol Spence actually wants the fight to happen at 154. And Steven Espinoza said weight should not be the determining factor for why a fight should or should not happen. But in this scenario, it could actually be the determining factor for why the fight might not happen. Because he said that one guy definitively is moving to 154 and one guy's kind of on the fence. He's kind of like, well, I'll fight Canelo for $1 bazillion at 160, but I'm not too sure about giving Errol Spence a rematch at 154.
You know what I'm saying? These niggas, they flip-floppy, they pitching and they catching.
Well, I'll fight Jermell Charlo at 154 because I'm going to get a lot of exposure and a good payday. But I don't want to fight Errol Spence at 154. Now, that's a problem because if y'all remember, Terence Crawford said that both fighters have to put in writing that they can't make the weight. And what Terence Crawford did is he admitted that he can make any weight. He can make 160, he can make 154, he can make 147.
You lying black bitch!
So by doing that, he basically is agreeing to those terms to where if Errol Spence says I can't make that weight and I need the fight to happen at 154, Terence Crawford can't make the excuse that he can't make 154 or 160 or 168 because he already said that he'll fight all these other fighters at those weights. So he basically voided any portion of that contract to where he said that I can only make 147. This is why Stephen Espinoza is saying that, okay, yes, you're saying you want it back in 147, but if you're agreeing to fight all these other people at these higher weights, then there's no reason you can't make 154 for Errol Spence Jr. So he's basically airing him out within the contract negotiation process and saying that it's not Errol Spence ducking anything, it's actually Terence Crawford. Once again, just like I've been telling people, it was never Errol Spence holding things up or ducking. It was Terence Crawford stalling and stalling and stalling the same way he's trying to do now, because he would rather go get that Canelo bag of money, hang on to the bit of fame that he's gained off that one Errol Spence victory, and be able to exit the sport on a Canelo fight or another big name. And I think he's trying to get out of the business, and if he has to fight Errol Spence again, then he could possibly get beat, number one, and number two, he might have to go do 2 or 3 more fights before he can actually retire, and he's going to retire with a loss. So, I see where Terence Crawford is coming from, but people got to be realistic. Once again, like I've been saying, it's not Errol Spence holding things up. Errol Spence was ready to get it on in December. So this is why I'm actually so confident in Errol Spence beating Terence Crawford in the second fight. If Errol Spence was willing to get in there with him that quickly, as long as it was at 154, why do you have any doubt in your mind that he's not going to go in there and try to destroy Terence Crawford? And I think that that's exactly what the problem is. I think that's what Terence Crawford has peeped. And, whether he'll be prepared or not, that's a different question. But Espinoza, he's going out with a bang. If Showtime's leaving, I think Showtime's going to leave on a good note. And, they had a lot of success with boxing, and that doesn't mean that any of these other fights and this Errol Spence-Terence Crawford rematch is not actually going to take place.
You can attack them through violence, and you can attack them through money. Now, everybody's not afraid to kill each other. At least to my rappers and my entertainers, help these people direct their money in a way. Don't allow a dollar of your money to leave your community again, and to these dogs that ask for your vote, to these dogs that ask for your money, and to these dogs come begging for you to get back into their economic system. Don't you spend a dollar. If you gonna buy some hair, buy it out of a trunk from a black person. But don't you spend a dollar with a dog who don't speak up to you.
Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Sure. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. But you're more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collabo, feature a product or your channel on my channel, feel free to hit my Gmail, because it is a flock of cards at gmail.com. And we are
shit. Another thing you shouldn't do is spend big bread on a new crib. Meet a little dime, let her move in. Have it in your new car cruising. Gotta be smarter than that. Shit, she's probably a rat. When you're going to work, she's home with a jerk. Jerking them, slurping them, twerking them. Then you coming home and you're murking them. Now hard years that nigga serving them. Still got her at your crib, taking care of your shit. Now ain't that a bitch? Another thing you don't do, hate on the click when we come through. S&R, that's how it goes. Slide off with his hoes. Don't dig a rat, don't dig a rat, don't dig a rat, nigga, don't dig a rat, don't dig a rat, don't dig a rat, don't dig a rat, nigga, don't dig a rat, fuck, player, don't do that shit, don't dig a rat, player, don't do that shit, don't dig a rat, player, don't do that shit, don't dig a rat, player, don't do that shit, fuck. Keys and I represent the SI. Test stars, you collide with the best squad. Bless y'all, then slide with your best bra. Young Lewis, he's spitting the best bars. That's how I go. Done did it before, that's how I know. Don't be hating on them local niggas. Don't make me hop out the ride and choke a nigga. I used to be a lot broker, nigga. Oh, but now I focus on the figures. Oh, I don't focus on these niggas. Oh, got me holding on the trigger. Don't do that shit. You ain't gotta do that shit. That nigga was cold, but he blew that shit. Young Keys is sick. True that shit. Nigga, don't